Hey everybody, how's it? Aloha, this is Geebz here, your old composer here at the Decomposer Lounge. I want to wish everybody a great start to their week. I have a suggestion from Patreon. It's a guitar and bass playthrough, and I believe the name of the band is Fragment. And so apparently this is going to be an extremely musicianship, technical kind of journey. I did look up the band. Do know that they do have vocals for this, and they are a complete band with vocals. So I will definitely dive into some more of their discography based on your suggestions with the vocalist. But this did come from Patreon, and so, you know, I do the best I can to oblige when I can do what I can do from Patreon or from here, our own suggestions too. Some people think that they have to go to Patreon for suggestions. No, you don't. You still drop them here. Just Patreon things seem to move a little faster, that's all. Wow, how's that for the big sell, huh? Well, if you'd like to check out, oh, also I've got a bunch of other reactions on Patreon that are not released here from some of the top, let's say, I would say 10 bands or artists that I've done on this channel too. So if you want to check that out to support the channel, the cup of coffee, the headsets, the whole thing. God, this whole front thing was nothing but a pitch, wasn't it? Job opening. All right, let's get right down to it. So this is First Fragment. This is a guitar and bass playthrough, and the name of the track is La Veuve. I'm going to blow this, but La Veuve and Les Martyrs. That's the name of the track. Let's do this. All right. What? I don't, first of all, where would there have been room for a melody on this? I guess I would have to listen to this track, which I will do with the vocals on it after this. This is extraordinary musicianship beyond, you know, beyond question. Excuse me, the beginning, our acoustic opening was really nice. This is all neoclassical, obviously, and very classical vibes, if you would, through and through. The opening acoustic part, though, I mean, they definitely are onto the layers and overdubbing stuff, because outside of that really super nice melodic playing that they were doing, we saw here on video, there were also another set of, I think, doubled guitar chords that were in the back that were being played. So that front section, you know, obviously had its support with layering and stuff. Then, of course, they break into this, and I just with a fretless bass, really? I mean, if you don't know, I mean, obviously, if you're a listener of music, you just enjoy it, you watch the musicians, and you definitely have an understanding on how instruments are being played. Unless you're a bass player or a musician, guitar player, anything like that, the fretless bass is probably the scariest thing for a bass player to play, even when you master it, like he has. So many things can go wrong with just a millimeter shift in position on your, on the fretboard hand, right, left, whichever handed you are. But that in of itself, with the technique and the kind of cross-up style here. Now, I said it was neoclassical. This is obviously metal, but that opening riff and what they played had a little bit of just a funk into it. And by virtue of that kind of vibe, the bass player was, coming around with fills and, rounding off passages with hardcore slap, pluck, pull, hammer-on techniques. I mean, this is mind-numbing. And then to watch the guys do what they do, like I said, I'm beyond listening to it, wondering what kind of musicians to expect, so then I can take a little more time and enjoy the technique of what and how they're playing it. Such passive hands. I think a lot of people don't understand sometimes the passivity of the hands. Very light touch is probably one of the toughest things to get, and it usually doesn't come until a couple of years into it that you realize you don't have to be so muscular and heavy-handed and stuff. That a lot of these guys that are playing these massive shred pieces have these like feather-light touches to their strings and stuff, and you could see that because you can't be tense, be going like this, otherwise you have no stamina, you can't pull it off. But it is absolutely mind-numbing. But I'm having at the same token, like I said, I'm having a hard time finding a place on where the melody would have gone. So. That was just an absolute maddening, massive shred clinic. Would have loved to have seen the drummer involved in this, but the drums, phenomenal. Well, so once again, just let's leave the technicality of the musicians out of this, because, like I said, it's unquestionable what I just watched and what they were able to pull off. But I got to tell you something. That bass player, how absolutely mental is that? And once again, if you are a bass player, let alone shred bass playing, how many strings did he have? 5, 6? But doing it fretless. And what I love too about the song is it did move us in and out of, like, if you went into full shred mode, then it broke it back down into the funk. And then there was that little, maybe about 8-bar section where there were some whole notes that were just kind of crunched out, while they kind of gave everybody a breather, at least gave me a breather. But it was an absolute expose in musicianship and technicality and everything. The bass player's right hand, or string hand, I guess he was left-handed. His left hand, I guess that would be. His playing technique reminded me a little bit of a combination of, like, the bass player that from the old days that I was fortunate to do a little work with. My dad did a lot of work with, Abraham Laboriel. And also there's a technique from another bass player from a band. God, I can't remember the name of the band. Maybe I'll find it and I'll pop it right here. And very unique position on the picking hand. That kind of, it's not your straight up and down. It's not this. It's not your wrist pulled this way. It's more of using the fingers this way. And I don't know if that's paramount to what it is that he's doing, if it makes it go any faster, because I know there's bass players use different techniques to do. Guitar players, same thing. Drummers, etc. But it was just great to watch. I didn't even touch my coffee, I don't think, because I was just so into watching what I just saw. So anyhow, I want to thank you guys for hanging out as long as you did. Please tell me what you thought about this. Obviously, if you have any song suggestions from this band that has vocals, please drop them down so I can put them on my list. Thank you guys for all the support. You know where the links are for that. You guys have a killer day. Going to be hitting you every day this week with a reaction. All right, guys, take care. See ya. All right.